Hello, everybody, and welcome to Web and Beyond Live for April 5th, 2021. I'm Ray Sidney Smith, and this is Web and Beyond Live, which is really my opportunity each week to talk to you about all the things that are happening in the world of digital marketing and otherwise. As a way of introduction, as always, I'm Ray Sidney Smith. I'm president of W3 Consulting and managing director of W3C Web Services, which provides affordable web and WordPress hosting, domain name registration, and other web-related services to small business. And so this week, what I wanted to do is just cover a few bits of news, but most importantly, really do a survey of some e-commerce items that kind of have been percolating, and I wanted to kind of bring them together in this discussion. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of these e-commerce things that are going on in the world. And so and then I want to kind of end with talking about YouTube Shorts, which is now out in beta in the United States. And I wanted to cover that piece of news as well. But of course, first and foremost, unfortunately, I've got to be the bearer of bad news a little bit and let you all know about an unfortunate series of events, which is that Facebook's users data for about 533 million users have been leaked into some, kind of gray web area. But either way, the information is not dire, but it's pretty bad. In essence, it says that there are phone numbers, full names, the locations of those individuals, email addresses, and some biographical information that was leaked into this area. And so it seems like this has just been put out into the open web where people can now download this information about these Facebook users. And so if you are on Facebook, just make sure that you go ahead and this is your time to change your password and also to just check to make sure that if you have any information on Facebook that is like your phone number, email address, and so on and so forth, just check your accounts to make sure that any other accounts that you have recently not changed the password for, maybe now is the time to kind of think about doing that and just paying attention, because the reality is that there's not much you can do. Hackers and phishers are going to try and impersonate people and use it to do all kinds of crime, but the reality is it's not much you can do about this. I haven't yet seen which users, like whether Facebook has a database of which users have been impacted. So just be mindful of the fact that, this may be, you may have been in this, but we don't really know if the data is going to be used by these people for ill purposes or otherwise. Continuing down that line in terms of Facebook, we have some updates coming in 2021 for Facebook, and the three different pieces that they have been talking about lately, I just wanted to cover some of them so people are aware. One is Facebook Shops is now going to be integrating with Shopify. This is really, really powerful. So Shopify has a platform called ShopPay. And if you don't know what ShopPay is basically an application that you install, and it allows you to be able to make payments really quickly. And so it collects your, your addresses, your payment credentials for different platforms, and it allows you to make payments across many different Shopify sites and other places that now you can in essence, centralize your purchasing in this particular application. So Shopify, of course, created it for their Shopify stores, and they've branched out to make this Shop Pay tool available to others. And so the tool is really convenient, right? If you're browsing, the web and you come across a store, you can very quickly go ahead and make those purchases. Of course, it's helping local store owners with servicing local shops and that kind of thing. So that's really great. And for, of course, users, they are getting the ability to have personalized deals show up from those Shopify stores. So as a Shopify store owner, a Shopify, e-commerce store owner, you're capable of showing to people who you may not know yet. So it kind of brings brand awareness for you in that sense. There is a component about this which is fighting climate change, which is kind of nice. They buy carbon offsets for people who purchase through ShopPay. But either way, now Facebook is integrating with that Shopify ShopPay application to make it faster for people to be able to check out when they're on Facebook. So some statistics are showing a 70% increase in speed of checkout time, and so that's great. And seeing a 70% increase in speed is pretty phenomenal. I'm not sure how many people are using Facebook Shops and those kinds of things. We're still trying to collect that data from our own clients as well as from different sources, and we'll see what happens. But the reality is that there are several e-commerce stores that are currently using this service on Facebook Shops, and so I'm going to be paying attention to what they're doing out there. But just know that it's happening, and people will be able to now use this component. So if you are on Shopify and you're integrating with Shop Pay, integrating with Facebook Shops, you are now capable of connecting those two, which is a nice added feature. I don't think it's going to increase dramatically anyone's sales, but it's another avenue for people to be able to do that. Next, Facebook, of course, is jumping on the bandwagon in terms of being able to monetize video content, and they are inviting content creators to, in essence, do that with on-demand live video, or that is video on demand. And so the idea here is that they're going to be doing in-stream ads for that video on demand content. Now, the reality is that this is not for Facebook profiles. This is only for Facebook pages. So you have to have a Facebook page, and you have to fit a whole bunch of criteria. You have to have over 600,000 total minutes viewed from any video content in the past 60 days. You have to have 5 or more videos on your page, and you have to abide by all of their Facebook content monetization policies. And you must also be 18 years of age or older and have at least 10,000 followers on that page. And so it's a high bar for you to be allowed into this content creators platform, but just know that it's there. And so if you do fit the, criteria, it could be something where you could start to monetize videos on Facebook. I don't see a lot of people utilizing this who don't already have a large following, because that's a pretty high bar to have to get to. It's the same thing with YouTube, though. You have to get over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube before you can monetize, and then you have to make sure that you have enough views per video over the course of a period of time, and so enough video minutes viewed over a course of time in order to be able to apply for YouTube monetization also. So there's a bit there. Next is Facebook is launching a publisher platform. So there, as we've talked about on the show before, we have the launch of Substack, and we have Review, which was bought by Twitter. And these are newsletter platforms that allow you to be able to publish content and monetize that content. Facebook is now launching their own publishers platform for that, hoping to kind of solve for that for independent writers. And so we'll see what happens. Facebook is in the process of launching this, but we'll see if the subscription platform gives a place for, and whether independent writers will be comfortable with putting their content onto Facebook in this way. But if you do have a following on Facebook and you want to be able to take advantage of that following by making the transition to subscription as close as possible, if you want to be writing on the platform, they're giving you this platform to be able to do it. So we'll see what happens, making it easy for people to be able to pay you. That's basically the point, right? Is that if you're producing content, you want to be able to quickly and easily have people subscribe and pay you without having to jump through too many hoops. And Facebook is basically jumping in to try and make that happen. Now, of course, I'll talk about this in a moment, but there's more that Facebook is doing. But I just wanted to point out that PayPal is now they've now launched and announced that people will be able to pay using cryptocurrency from their PayPal accounts across online merchants. So this is very, very powerful stuff here. I know this seems futuristic and seems not like it seems weird to talk about this, but the reality is that people are using Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and other forms of cryptocurrency to pay for goods and services online. And now that PayPal and really many other large financial institutions have made investments in those cryptocurrencies, they are now allowing you to pay with them through their checkout services. So if somebody has a PayPal button on their website and you have cryptocurrency sitting in your account, you can now spend that cryptocurrency on those sites and pay in crypto. So this is really going to start bringing cryptocurrency into kind of an everyday conversation when people start to see cryptocurrency as an option for being able to pay. So just be mindful of the fact that this is coming. Again, I don't think that cryptocurrency is the most important thing about the conversation when it comes to this. As we talked about before, blockchain is really the most important component here, but that cryptocurrency is pushing forward and advancing the power of blockchain is really important and powerful for business. And the more you tie it to back-end operations, blockchain tying to your accounting, for example, can then make it easier for it to tie to your e-commerce, and that makes it just all the more seamless in those regards. So I see a lot of power and potential in blockchain, and cryptocurrency is just the edge, the beginning edge of what we're going to see in terms of a fundamental change in the way in which we transact data around the planet. Okay, so continuing on the e-commerce, bent that I'm on today is that there's a company called Stockley, and Stockley has come out with this really unique service, which in essence, they allow e-commerce websites to be able to sell out of stock items from a shared inventory. And so in essence, if you have an e-commerce store and your items sell out of stock, right? You're out of stock from a particular thing. What Stockley does is it partners in the back end with all of these third-party suppliers so that people can go ahead and still get the packaging, the inventory and processed so that they can go ahead and get the items shipped. And they're kind of handling all of that in the back end. And so we're starting to see more and more e-commerce tools coming in to solve problems for small businesses that may not have a large amount of inventory. So this is not, of course, for bespoke items, things where you're creating custom products and that kind of thing. But if you have general inventory for things and you're trying to sell and you want to be able to not have things go out of stock, you can go ahead and potentially use things like Stockley. Just to keep in mind with the fact that e-commerce is continually moving forward in many of the ways in which it can solve for these small business problems. So don't think that you can't get into e-commerce because, oh gosh, I don't have the power of Amazon and the cash and the reserves of Amazon to be able to do this stuff. We're seeing companies come in and solve for these individual problems. You think of Oberlo, they solve for the problem of not having a product and launching an e-commerce store because they source products and allow you to be able to drop ship. Stockley here is handling out of stock items from a shared inventory. You have lots of different services that are capable of coming in and solving for some of these problems. And of course, one of those other problems is, of course, customer service. And I came across this article, which I thought was really, really interesting. So the MIT Technology Review was talking to Salesforce through, it's a sponsored article. Salesforce paid them to do this article, but the point still is quite meritful, which is that in essence, we have conversational artificial intelligence really coming forward, and we now have tools like ManyChat and otherwise that really allow you to be able to set up a conversational chatbot on your website that allows for customers to come to it and get their problems solved. That may be by sourcing FAQs from your website. It may be by you actually structuring the conversations so that you can eliminate 80, maybe 90% of the sales and customer service questions that people have when they come to your website while still having a seamless experience. People don't really care if they're talking to a human being or not. They care about getting their problem solved. And so if you can use this conversational AI on your website, you can sell more and you can solve more customer support tickets automatically in an automated fashion. And so this article was just really unique for me because I think that a lot of businesses, again, they feel like I don't have enough support. I don't have enough dollars to be able to make, 24/7, staff sit around, answering live chat, when in reality, maybe this is what you use after hours, or maybe using it as a first line of defense so that you don't have to answer every question that somebody has, but only once they reach a blockage and they can't get beyond that challenge with AI, then they can ask to speak to a live representative. And maybe those live representatives are only available during your waking hours. So I'm in Eastern daylight saving time right now. If I'm in U.S. Eastern time, then I would have it available to speak to me during those live hours. But all the other times, people can use AI, and when they're not able to, then they can leave a message, and that will email me and I can respond back to them later. Is that ideal? Is it perfect? No, but it's going to be good enough that maybe you don't lose as many sales, and you'll still be getting most questions solved and most people brought forward in the sales process or in customer support process without you having to do it yourself. So I just think it's a unique situation we're in, where technology is really, truly creating greater productivity in that sense. And then I wanted to also just point out the fact that now Clubhouse, which we've talked about kind of ad nauseum these last several, this whole month, really, this past month in March, now into April, about Clubhouse. And Clubhouse is a social media, a social audio application. So social audio, social network, if you want to call it that, a social audio network. And the program itself is currently still invite only. It's iOS only, and it's gotten a lot of funding from Silicon Valley, and so it's gotten a lot of notoriety. But the reality is that the number of rivals to the platform have already cropped up, and we're seeing lots and lots of social audio apps now coming on board or being planned to come on board. The latest of which has been LinkedIn, who announced this last week. So here we have Twitter Spaces, which is in pretty good shape. So Twitter Spaces right now is in beta. I've been able to see them in the Twitter app now. I can see Spaces popping up from different folks who have access to it so far. I don't have access to Spaces yet to host, and I'm hoping that I will be able to, because that would be great to do Twitter Spaces as a live podcast, for example, as opposed to doing it through some other tool. And then Facebook, of course, is working on their own. LinkedIn has talked about launching one now, and they're working on an audio-only version of it. I'm not particularly bullish on LinkedIn doing this, only because they've been pretty poor at getting the concept of live video broadcasting to the masses. So far, they've made it invite only. You've had to, not invite only, but you've had to apply for LinkedIn Live, which is their version of YouTube Live. You've had to apply, and the application process has been slow to approve. And the number of people I have seen in my own network has been very, very slow to move in terms of getting access to LinkedIn Live. So they're really moving very slowly with all of this. They've, of course, launched their version of LinkedIn of stories. So with LinkedIn Stories, they've got that going out there. They've got a newsletter platform. All of these things that they've launched, other than Stories, is still either invite only or by application, and they're not really releasing it at a fast enough clip that I think is going to keep them competitive with the rest of the market. So I'm not going to hold my breath with regard to whatever LinkedIn audio feature they're going to be putting into the applications. That being said, they are doing it. Spotify purchased the company, and they're launching a program for live audio. Slack has come out and created this virtual hallway meetings platform to be able to do it. Discord has even launched a new set of features for that. And then Telegram, which, if you have never heard me talk about Telegram, Telegram is one of my favorite messaging apps. And so I use it almost exclusively for chatting with colleagues and friends. And it's a bang up app. And so they have come out with Voice Chats 2.0, which basically gives it all of the features of Clubhouse. My point in bringing this all up is to say that when it comes to social networks, we get really hyped up. We get hyped up around TikTok. We get hyped up around Snapchat. And you can see where they've gone in terms of popularity and fads fading very quickly. It's not to say that Snapchat isn't great. Snapchat is great if you want to get in front of a younger audience. Snapchat is obviously powerful and capable of being utilized for that purpose. Same thing with TikTok. There's an interesting, unique culture that TikTok has developed. But if you're going to tell me that you have to be there, I just don't think so. I mean, Clubhouse is not even on Android, and it's just not even ready for game time, and it's already got 6 major competitors who have been in the market for a long time, who have name recognition and a vast network of people who can just buy into that platform because they've already been on that platform, versus having to change and move to Clubhouse and trying to develop a whole new audience there. It's just not likely that Clubhouse is going to take over in that sense. Will it be around in 3-5 years? Maybe, yeah. will they really be a dominant voice in social? Probably not. And so it's not necessarily a knock against them, just to keep mindful of the fact that yes, you can have first starter advantage on a platform and get some publicity about the business, about your business, but your digital marketing strategy needs to know that that's kind of short term and short lived. And so, what is the strategy for being able to collect email addresses and get those people to the place where you know that you're going to be able to control the conversation subsequent to, say, Clubhouse losing its trendiness, or even Snapchat or TikTok losing its trendiness? Once the the patina starts to wear, I guess the patina develops, but whatever. Once you start to see the shine wear off, you need to make sure that you are poised for being able to still mold that audience for your best effect, because then otherwise you've done a lot of work like on Clubhouse and not really gotten the benefit from it. So if you have access to Clubhouse and you want to be able to check it out, by all means, see what you can do and get in terms of traction and exposure there. But I wouldn't also break my neck to try and get in and spend a lot of time there. This is a one-to-one time investment as well. Nothing's recorded. You're in there in real time or not. And so the reality is that you can spend a lot of time in this platform and not actually get much out of it. But you could also make really great relationships. You can also have really great social time there in a non-business sense. So I have no problem with you spending time there if you feel like it's something that you want to do. But I wouldn't get too crazed over Clubhouse. It's not going to be the next latest social network. It's just another social network with one particular type. It's kind of a gimmick, right? It's social audio, and that's not to say that it's bad. It's just that it's only limited to that. So we just have to be mindful of that. Okay. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about YouTube Shorts. So YouTube last year brought out the idea of YouTube Shorts. They released it in India, and now YouTube Shorts has come to the United States. And so they are beta testing it in the United States. YouTube Shorts are, in essence, 60-second or less vertical videos, and they allow you to do a lot of what TikTok allows you to do. And as they noted in this article here, they are trying to do much more of what TikTok is trying to do. So TikTok has, of course, the ability for you to be able to mix and remix videos from other users, and also utilize audio music from major record labels. And in this article, as it notes here, they are now trying to bring a large library of songs into Shorts, and they're working with Sony Music Entertainment and Publishing, Warner Music, Warner Chappell Music, and all of these other entertainment brands to be able to bring that library of music into them. So they are in essence going full on competition to TikTok, and it's YouTube. So they have enough runway to be able to really outlast whatever TikTok can do. And so, not that I'm saying this is the death knell of TikTok, but you're probably going to see a lot more of the TikTok creators repurposing their content, just copying it over and cloning it to YouTube Shorts. And over time, especially as YouTube's got their monetization strategy pretty locked down on YouTube proper, as they start to figure out how to monetize for YouTube Shorts, more and more of those people who could otherwise be making money on YouTube versus TikTok are probably going to make that transition and say, well, you know what, if I can do everything that I can do on TikTok, on YouTube, and I can make money doing it, then I'm going to make my way over there. And so, we'll see how TikTok responds to that in terms of, redeveloping their monetization for their creator strategy. But this is kind of how we're seeing the future is in YouTube Shorts taking over that function. Instagram with Reels didn't quite get as much traction. It's there. You can see that people are taking their TikToks and posting it to Reels, but we're probably going to see a much, much larger audience adhere to this on YouTube Shorts just because of the size of YouTube. I wanted to show you very quickly. This is what YouTube Shorts looks like. On mobile, you can see that it says Shorts Beta, and it shows up as this carousel of different images. And of course, when you click on any one of the images, you are then taken into the full screen vertical video that plays. And just so that you have some understanding of what it's going to look like, and you can look to see whether or not your YouTube app has YouTube Shorts Beta enabled just by scrolling through videos and seeing if you see this carousel of YouTube Shorts Beta. And so just so you're aware, the YouTube Shorts, as I said, have to be under 60 seconds and they're vertical video. And then you can just go ahead and upload them from within your app. So you upload them from YouTube on your mobile, and you can upload them and you can do all kinds of fun things within it. Of course, they're working to make the creation tools even better over the course of time. But at the present moment, you're only capable of doing it from the mobile app, and there are, of course, some limitations within the app there. So, yeah, that was my kind of mixture of e-commerce and YouTube Shorts stuff for today. I wanted to just cover those pieces. Just one quick announcement. We have now put out what is going to be our only Web and Beyond webinar for April. And then starting next month, we'll go to an every other week cadence. And so Web and Beyond webinar for April is going to be lessons from a year going live. And so if you go to our events page, you can go ahead and RSVP for that. And so let me find myself here. There I am. So if you go to w3cinc.com/events, so inc.com/events, you'll be able to register for the upcoming webinar. And so you can go ahead and do that. If you are a member of Web and Beyond community, you'll see the event in there. And all you have to do is just RSVP to the event and you'll be able to do that. If you go to www.webandbeyond.community, you'll be able to go ahead and just RSVP directly inside of the community. You'll see the event there and you'll be good to go. And so otherwise, we have all kinds of other things that I have planned for Web and Beyond community. So feel free to join us while we're still small and growing, and feel free to join us and be there. But we have some really big news and plans coming in the coming month or so. So I'm really excited about Web and Beyond community. And then otherwise, I just want to wish everybody a great week ahead. Just a couple of items here. If you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to hit the thumbs up icon. That helps us make new small business friends. And so thank you for doing that. If you have a question, feel free to leave a comment on the video, or you can tweet or message me at W3 Consulting. So W3 Consulting on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter. And then, of course, you can join us here on 11 a.m. on Mondays every week for Web and Beyond Live. Thanks so much for spending this Web and Beyond Live with me. I'm Ray Sidney Smith on behalf of W3 Consulting and our subsidiary W3C Web Services. Have a great week ahead, marketing your small business on the Web and Beyond.